In the past few months, there has been growing religious discontentment between various religious communities, and this is worrying for the progeny of our nation. So, could UCC, that is Uniform Civil Code, be the way forward? And that is what we are going to know in today's video. So, why the delay? Let's begin the elucidation. The UCC or Uniform Civil Code is a proposal to codify a single law in the country which is applicable for all of its citizens, governing matters such as marriage, divorce, adoption and inheritance. Instead of plethora of fragmented customary and personal laws which are currently existing for different religions and communities, the UCC would be a common set of governing laws once implemented. To simply put, it is based on the premise that there is no connection between religion and law in modern civilization. The Article 44 of the Indian Constitution corresponds with Directive Principles of State Policies or DPSP. And in this very same article, Part 4, the term Uniform Civil Code is explicitly mentioned, and it is deduced that the state shall endeavour to secure its citizens a uniform civil code throughout the territory of India. Thus, the union and state governments have had the liberty to take steps to bring forth the Uniform Civil Code. However, Article 37 of the Indian Constitution itself makes it clear that the directive principles of state policy shall not be enforceable by any court. Nevertheless, they are fundamental in the governance of the country. This indicates that although our constitution itself believes that the Uniform Civil Code should be implemented in some manner, but it does not make this implementation mandatory. Here's an interesting fact for you. Did you know that Goa is the only state in our country that has a UCC or Uniform Civil Code, thereby having uniform personal laws applicable for all of its citizens regardless of their religion? Let us go a bit back in the past and follow through the developments of Uniform Civil Code post-colonial period. During the drafting of our constitution, prominent leaders such as Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and Babasaheb Ambedkar pushed for the need of a Uniform Civil Code. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the father of Indian Constitution, was a fierce proponent of Uniform Civil Code, and he considered it essential for the modernization of India. He also deduced that these religious personal laws were discriminatory in nature, especially towards women and marginalized groups. And he also argued that without a Uniform Civil Code, India's attempts or efforts towards social reform would be hindered or would face obstacles. Finally, the UCC was included in the Directive Principles of State Policy mainly due to the opposition from religious fundamentalists and also due to the lack of awareness among the masses. Moreover, the UCC can also be seen in the Hindu Code Bill presented by Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar during that same timeline. There were also some other reforms along with the Hindu Code Bill that got initiated during the same period, such as Succession Act, Minority and Guardianship Act, Adoption and Maintenance Act, the Hindu Marriage Act and also the Special Marriage Act. The UCC would in concept provide equal status for all the communities in a country irrespective of their background and what they belong to. It is not a foreign concept and it well belongs within India's history. Our constitution provides the right to equality for all, and even in our Indian traditions and scriptures, many values on equality are prescribed between men and women. The judiciary has highlighted the need for Uniform Civil Code through various judgments. The most pioneering one was the Shabano case of 1985, where the court ruled that the Muslim woman was to be paid for maintenance by the husband, which was beyond the proposed period under the Muslim Personal Law. This was later diluted under the Muslim Women's Protection of Rights on Divorce Act in 1986. The Honorable Supreme Court at the time commented that the Uniform Civil Code would help the cause of national integration by removing laws having conflicting ideologies. Over the years, several cases have come up in court due to discriminatory personal laws across religion. A recent win for women's rights over personal laws was the Shairo Bano case, in which ultimately the Supreme Court ruled that the triple talaq is unconstitutional. The task of actually devising a set of rules that will govern all communities is a very humongous and tedious one, considering the wide range of interests and sentiments to be accounted for. The number one challenge of Uniform Civil Code is misinformation, and that is the content of Uniform Civil Code has not been spelled properly to the minority communities, making them believe that it is a way of imposing majority views on them. The second challenge of UCC is the lack of political will due to the complexity and sensitivity of the issue. The third challenge of the UCC is the different religious communities having different personal laws, which leads to the politicization of this very UCC debate. Opponents of UCC argue that personal laws are derived from religious beliefs. They also maintain that it is prudent to not disturb them, as this runs the risk of endangering a great deal of animosity and tension between various religious communities. A progressive and broad-minded outlook should be encouraged among the people to understand the spirit of Uniform Civil Code. For this, education, awareness and sensitization programs must be taken up. The Uniform Civil Code should be drafted keeping in mind the best interests of all the people. A committee of eminent jurists should be constituted to maintain uniformity, and care must be taken not to hurt the sentiments of any particular community. Until UCC is enacted, conflicts would continually arise since different faiths have different rules, and progressive measures such as in the increase of marriageable age of women from 18 to 21 would continually be contested and challenged. With several state governments such as in Uttarakhand declaring their intention to bring forth the Uniform Civil Code, and as part of rulings from the Supreme Court and the High Courts, the debate for Uniform Civil Code is reignited, and it's the right time to relook at its implementation and ultimately fulfill Babasaheb Ambedkar'S dream. India as a country is a melting pot of plethora of cultures, traditions, castes, religions and social groups. There is no uniform family related law which is applicable to all its citizens in a single statute book. So, the Uniform Civil Code has potential to address this very need to strengthen the secular fabric of this country. It should be therefore formed without being impulsive, and more important is to respect all the sentiments while keeping the fundamental rights as a clear breeze. Rather than using it as an emotive to gain political advantage, political and intellectual leaders should try to evolve a consensus, cause the question is not of minority protection or even of national unity. It is simply one of treating each human person with dignity and freedom, which should be the very basis of a democratic country like India.